Well, here we go again. Anthony Joshua will be taking on Francis Ngannou March 9th in Saudi Arabia. Man, Saudi Arabia, they love these big heavyweight fights. And the funny thing too is that, when Fury and Ngannou was announced, I'm sure a lot of the general public absolutely hated the announcement. But now, I think with Francis Ngannou's performance on Tyson Fury, I think we see a complete flip. And now the opposite, I see a lot of people, a lot of positive feedback on this announcement. And of course, it's mostly due to the fact of Francis Ngannou. Man, the guy earned it. He put on a performance of a lifetime. Nobody expected him to put on that type of performance against the former #1 pound for pound fighter in the world. We all knew it was a possibility. We all knew Francis Ngannou has that crazy knockout power. He could hurt and drop Tyson Fury. But let's be real, how many people out there really thought that something like that would happen? And that's mostly due to the fact that Tyson Fury, for a heavyweight, he has outstanding footwork and he's very light on his feet. He has a type of style where you just don't really see guys moving like that at that big of weight classes. So we knew it was going to be tough for Ngannou to land on him, but he did. And when he did, it was causing a lot of damage. But now we are getting Anthony Joshua. Man, this is actually a lot more interesting of a matchup because stylistically, I think this fight actually kind of favors Francis Ngannou a little bit more. I'm not going to lie. My initial thoughts are, I would still pick Anthony Joshua to win just because, this is his wheelhouse. And after that last performance, I just can't pick against him, right? If this was before that last performance, if this was the Robert Helenius Anthony Joshua, I think Francis Ngannou, has a really good shot. But after that last performance, man, I'm not too sure if Francis Ngannou is going to have what it takes to take out Anthony Joshua. But of course, these are very freaking big guys swinging heavy leather. And what makes this fight so much better, in my opinion, is that if you did watch Anthony Joshua's last fight, he's going back to what he used to be. He's sitting down on shots instead of, doing all that dancing around or trying to do the fancy footwork, which isn't really his identity or what he does. He sits down on his shots, land big shots, change angles, and then rinse and repeat, throwing big time combinations, landing absolute bombs. At that type of style, I think it's actually going to work in Francis Ngannou's favor because he can do the same. I think this is going to be a fight where we're really going to get to see how Francis Ngannou's power transitions into boxing, because when they get into these exchanges where both guys are sitting down and they're trading blows, somebody is going to touch that canvas. Now, who it might be, I'm not sure. But man, with both of their styles, if this pans out to be the fight that I think it will be, man, we are in for a treat. But I got to commend both of these guys, man, because Anthony Joshua, look, the guy is taking a big time risk. Anthony Joshua really gains nothing in taking this type of fight. He's literally just doing this for the fans, which should earn him so much more brownie points. There's literally no winning in this situation. He goes out there and beats Francis Ngannou. He was supposed to beat him. Francis is an MMA guy. He goes out there and loses to Ngannou, or the fight is even close, just like Fury. We've seen what happened to Fury all over social media and online. So even if the fight is remotely close, Anthony Joshua is going to get absolutely ridiculed. So it's a lose-lose situation for AJ. But hey, man, so I got to commend him for taking this big fight. And of course, Francis Ngannou, it's a win-win situation for him. He's in the same boat as he was for the Tyson Fury fight. But I will say is also, we got to start giving Francis Ngannou his flowers. A lot of people out there were saying that he's going to boxing because he's avoiding Jon Jones. He doesn't want to fight Jon Jones. Jon Jones is going to maul him, wrestle him to the ground and maul him. And I'm not going to lie, I was eating that up a little bit. I was like, well, I could see why he would want to, move to boxing away from the Jon Jones fight because, at his peak now where he is, the top dog, that's the way he's going to get these big fights in boxing. If he were to have stayed in MMA and risk losing to a stylistic nightmare against Jon Jones, if he were to lose that fight, he probably won't be able to go to boxing and get these big fights and get these humongous paydays like he is now. So, he decided to, I'm going to utilize this and I'm going to move over to boxing and take those big fights, which honestly, in my opinion, I think it's a harder thing to do. I don't think very many people are talking about this, but he went from, fighting in his sport, he's going to fight a guy who is smaller than him, to going to a completely different sport and fighting guys, around his size. He's charting in completely unfamiliar territory. So in my opinion, what Francis Ngannou is doing now is a lot braver than if he were to just go and fight Jon Jones. And it does hurt to say that a little bit because I really wanted to see that fight. Francis and Jon Jones would have been such a big fight. But here we are, Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou, March 9th. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments down below, who you got and by how. I cannot wait to watch this, and I hope Francis Ngannou puts on another show for us just to make things a little bit more interesting. But as always, I thank you all so much for your support, and I'll catch you in the next video.